How does someone receive justice? For those who watched my last video, I said justice is something we made up. Now, if it's made up, then how do you explain when someone says they will get justice? Well, I imagine that when you hear the word justice, most of you will think about punishing criminals. That's justice, right? Well, that's partly true, but there's still more to it. If someone does bad things, they need to know that there will be consequences. But what about the victims of those bad things? If the person who did the bad things was sentenced to prison, is that justice for the victims? The answer is not always. A lot of times, people still feel that they want something more. And that's the other part of justice that isn't as talked about. Victim support. Helping victims deal with the harm that was inflicted upon them. And that's where restorative justice comes in. To explain restorative justice, I would like to tell you a story. Now, this story is real. It's a story with three main characters: Jacob, Joan, and David. Jacob was a young man. Joan and David were husband and wife. They had a son, James. Joan and David were very proud of James. James was a caring person and a loving son. He was studying to become a paramedic. That is, until his life was cut short by one punch. And the one who threw that punch? Jacob. Jacob was caught and sentenced to 14 months in prison. Now, my question for you is, do you believe that Joan and David felt that they received justice? The answer, perhaps unsurprisingly, is no. Joan and David were consumed by anger and sorrow. Their son was just there one day and gone another. And what was truly agonizing to them was one unanswered question. Why? Why did this terrible thing happen? What was the cause? Why did Jacob do what he did? Time passed, and eventually Jacob was released from prison. And that was when Joan and David decided to do the unthinkable. They decided they wanted to talk to Jacob. They had questions, and they had things they wanted to say. And that's why they turned to restorative justice. Put simply, restorative justice is about dealing with harm through listening and talking. With Jacob's willingness, these three people started to talk. Indirectly at first, and then after a long time, in person. Joan and David felt that they could finally have the answers they were looking for, and could express to Jacob the pain that they felt because of James's death. Jacob, having listened to all of this, could finally fully understand the consequences of his actions and the pain that his punch had brought. And he also had the chance to express his remorse for his actions. The use of this restorative justice was something that Joan, David, and even Jacob felt transformed their lives. Although there was nothing that could be done to undo the punch that took James's life, the three main people felt that they could at least move on and live their lives. Now, this was a story that has been condensed into only the most relevant parts. If you want to know the full story, right now there is a play in the London West End called The Punch. It is amazing, I've seen it already, and I recommend it to anyone who's interested in justice. If you're not in London, or you didn't want to pay to see it, I will also be making a video reviewing the play and talking about all the great representations of justice in it. Because in the end, the justice that I believe in is about helping people, supporting those who have been treated unfairly, and listening to what they need. And no approach to justice represents that better than restorative justice. Happy Restorative Justice Week, everyone. If you like this video, please consider subscribing for more interesting justice content, and also comment on what you think about restorative justice. I would love to hear it. Justice Guy out.